Okay, but before we actually get to the closing laps here, there's this crazy crash that happens. We were trying to figure out what was going on. Watch this rider here on Lucas's right. Like, what? Dude, just. I'm here with the GOAT of crit racing, Lucas Burgoyne. Good to have you, buddy.
What is up, man? How are you?
Well, I'm recovering from COVID. But other than that, I'm stoked to be talking with you, and I'm stoked to be diving into some crit footage. What do we have today?
Today is Littleton Twilight 2025. Probably one of my favorite races of the year. Probably one of my favorite races of all time. And I'm glad I get to share it with you and get to hustle through it.
Let's go, dude. The finish of this race is insane. Should we dive into some race footage?
Oh, it's so spicy.
It is. All right, so why are we starting with 20 kilometers to go? This is more of like a 50 or 60 kilometer race. Tell me what's going on, Lucas.
Yeah, man. So in corner two, where we just went through corner one, you'll see corner two coming up here. It got a little dark, and because of that, it's kind of the main crash place of the day. It also has a curb jut out from the outside that makes it a little bit tricky. And so, yeah, about half the peloton ended up going down in a crash in this corner that you are seeing now. And yeah, so they called a neutral. We were on the line for about 20 minutes or so before the race restarted, letting everyone get their equipment in order, get guys peeled off the course that may be in an ambulance going to the hospital. And then, like the gladiator sport it is, get your ass back out there and let's get going.
Yeah, big enough crash that to stop the entire race. It's not, I would say it's common, but it's also not that rare because it's high stakes racing, guys. It's national level racing. Tons of money on the line. And with that said, tell me about the competition. Obviously, I can see a certain team on the front right now.
Yep.
Legion must be the biggest competition.
Yes, absolutely. So kind of the competition layout is you've got what you see right now, which is 8 Legion guys. They take over, it looks like about 20K to go, maybe inside of 12 laps or so. They establish that they are going to ride the front. Their 8 guys are going to take the front, and they're not going to let anyone else have it. With that puts our team behind them. It's me, Richard, and Luke, a 3-man team for Team Cadence, 8 for Legion. You've got Primal Audi Denver with about 12, and you have a team called Cholet with about 12 as well. And then an individual, Dan Holloway, who we will also talk about a little bit. Those are your people, if I will, your main players.
Okay, so you mentioned Daniel Holloway, legend in the sport, and we fast forward a little bit here. You guys had this lengthy conversation. Tell me what's going on. The audio's not quite picking it up, but you guys are having this conversation. What's old guard to new guard? What's he talking about?
You talking about Dan? You talking about Grandpa over there? Man, Dan Holloway. No, I love him. I love him. No, man, Holloway's a legend. We are actually going back and forth about strategy right now, and obviously Holloway and I come from a different era, and we're kind of getting to field test these things, right? And so Holloway was under his idea was that we should race next to Legion. It would put them under pressure more, which would then in turn help us more. I was kind of standing on the other side of it, where I have Richard and Luke, who you'll see at some point are always on my hip. They're always on my hip protecting me. And so for me, being behind Legion train is not a place of danger. That, to speak to Holloway, he wanted to ride forward, to ride next to Legion, to create pressure on them and to keep us out of the shit of what's behind. As you can see right now, is when you have a Luke and a Richard Hollick whose sole job is to make sure that no one swarms me, and if they do, they get taken wide. I get a nice and pretty easy ride, and so because of that, it's like I'm an extension of the Legion train. And so for me, I'm just like, I want to stay right here. I want to play lowest watts. Who can do the lowest watts? Because I know at the end of the day, with my engine versus maybe the engines of the sprinters and their trains, that even if the pace is easy, it's easier perceived exertion on me than it may be on them. And so I can use that to my advantage late and capitalize on what Team Cadence does, which is, I truly believe we are the fastest team in the last lap in the country. And if we sit back and save our matches for that, man, sky's the limit, and we can get some dummy dubs done.
Yeah, Dude, well said. I mean, I love what you said. As long as like the name of the game is just lowest amount of watts possible while remaining in
Mhm.
good position. As long as you can get away with staying behind the Legion leadout, like have your boys play sweeper behind. I think that's an excellent move. I feel like the old train of thought, pardon the pun, is to ride
Mhm.
alongside the front train with your riders. But hey,
Mhm.
you only have two. They're superstars, but up against like the 8 that Legion has, I think this is the move. So let's
Mhm.
see how that
Mhm.
plays out for you in the last few laps of this race.
Yeah, I'll say one thing. I'll give Holloway if we and he said it himself. If you have more numbers, it makes his strategy a bit more feasible, and something that we could execute on.
Okay, but before we actually get to the closing laps here, there's this crazy crash that happens. We did it like we were trying to figure out what was going on. Watch this rider here on Lucas's right. Like what? If we just watch that
Good
again,
douche. Good
dude, just
douche.
like we watched this 3 times already, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. His hands are still on the brakes, so it looks like he just hits a pothole or something, but you can't see because it's really dark, which is maybe the reason why he hit a pothole. It's dark or
Yep,
something, and
yep.
he's
This was
way
a dark
outside.
section.
And this is not the race line, but he just like completely loses control of his bike, and yikes, hits his
Yeah,
head.
and shout out to this corner took some bodies. Luke Fetzer also actually in the race went down in this corner. That's why you could see his right nipple the rest of the race because he literally didn't have chest. He didn't have any of clothing on his chest after he crashed, and still got up and did the job, which was absolutely incredible. So hats off to you, Lukey boy, and prayers to that dude because that thing looked gnarly as
That
hell.
looks so crazy. I mean, hopefully, dude's all right. We didn't hear anything. I'm assuming he got up. They didn't stop the race.
Play it through, Jeff. You'll see us go, and then you'll see Richard. I yell at Richard, "Who was that?" And Richard goes, "I don't know." I says, "Was that one of us?" And Richard said, "No." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then we lock back in. That is crit racing for you. Summarized in a T is minefield going off around you, and how do you navigate them and still lock the hell back in?
All right, we're gonna pick up things here with 3 laps to go, and shit's gonna go down because what's
Hmm.
happening is the Legion lead out isn't as fast as it needs to be, and everyone's now jockeying for position in the final of like 3 or 4 minutes of this race. Everybody wants to be in position to win the sprint, but only a few can, and you're going to start moving up the right hand side. It's the reason for that.
I wanted to kind of get inside the Legion train and see what they'd allow. They also slowed a lot in that corner. That was just me kind of using my momentum. And then yeah, we kind of start going bar to bar.
Oh,
Justin give me some love tap right there. And then I think that is Jim Brown. He also, they're racing aggressive. They're establishing their space and they're letting people know that you don't come inside our house, which is fine, which is absolutely
right.
fine. I find a nice little friendly wheel right there with Danny Summerhill, who seems to be okay, letting me ride along his side and whatnot. He's boxing me out some, but Danny knows I'm also a little crazy, so he's always extra nice to me.
But I imagine you don't want to be riding too much alongside the train right here because you're getting like a half a draft right here, and you don't want to be spending too much
Right,
energy alongside the Legion train, even though they've slowed down a bit. Like this isn't ideal
right.
for you. I'd imagine at a certain point you want teammates in front of you. No.
Yes and no. Yes and no. It isn't ideal for me to be here, and that's why you kind of see me slot back and find my boys. Richard Hollick moves up on the left side here, but for our style, the boys know and trust that I really like to pick my own lines, and I know where and when and how I want to move in a crit. And so the best thing that they can do most of the time is be on my hip and making sure that no one can come around me, or they'll shut the door on them basically so that I get the easiest and the freest ride to the finish. And then from there it's gloves off, and let's see who can go faster on the last lap.
Yeah, and speaking of fast, it looks like they have picked up the pace. Like Legion got a little reorganized. I mean, they still have like 5 or 6 riders. There's no reason they should be slowing down at this point. And they're leading
Right.
things out, it looks like, for Justin, right? This is all in for Justin.
Correct. At this point, you can tell that they are going for Justin Williams. He is the man to beat on their team, and so it's how do we position ourselves. I think back in that corner, that's when I chatted to Richard and I was like, "Take the run." I yelled at him. I said, "Take the run between corner 1 and corner 2 on the last lap because that's where I thought they were going to slow, and it is kind of where they slowed intentionally. You'll see why. You'll see why.
So tell me, at this point in the race, like, who's your major threat in this race?
It's definitely Legion. Legion came here with an 8-man train. They had the Legion lead out that you've seen in prior years in 2021, and so this was their best effort to put together a team that could combat us and could beat us, right? And so it was us versus them, baby.
Yeah, so we're inside 1 lap to go now, and now they've really picked up the pace, and you're doing over 1,000 watts here, and it looks like you're going to take a run at them on the left-hand side. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to split the train, and luckily, you're going to see coming into this corner, Corey Williams, they're going to actually let off the gas to get Corey a gap. So tactful play on their part, because then that, it's 2 ways to win the race. But yeah, I remember when I was getting ready to send all this stuff to you, I almost didn't want to send my fit file because I looked at my last sprint and it's like, dang, I only hit 1,350 watts. But then I realized after watching this with you, I practically sprinted the entire last lap and did like 620 for 2 minutes and 400 for the last 8. So anyone who says crits aren't hard, that sucked. And it was at altitude.
Too. Right.
And it was at altitude.
So Richard comes to the rescue, shuts down Corey, who was fading, and you get a clean run into the final corner. But Justin's protected this whole time. He comes on your left. Dude, I thought he was going to walk you in the sprint, but I guess I have to say it, man. The stronger man won on the day. Like you said, it wasn't crazy groundbreaking numbers, but it got the job done at the end. I mean, such a hard-fought last couple of laps. Super well-deserved win, man.
Thank you, and yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones you remember in your career of things. It was the great upset, and so to be able to pull it off with me and my boys, it makes a fairy tale year just a little bit more sweet. Look, there's Richard. Oh, look at him.
the 3 versus 8, man. I remember it wasn't that long ago when, like, hey, Legion takes the front, maybe you can get second. But probably not, because Legion's probably going to go 1, 2, 3. And for just the 3 of you to come over the top of Legion, one of the most successful crit leadouts in the last 10 years, I'd say, is super impressive. So again, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing your footage. Tons more content from Lucas. If you guys want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you want to see next, because they've been on a streak this year. They have tons of footage. Great having you on, buddy.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. NorCal rocks.